All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a technique that is, no joke, a total game changer for anyone who deals with software tests. It's called headless testing, and it's all about making your UI tests faster, way more stable, and just more efficient. So let me ask you a question, and be honest. Does this sound familiar? You kick off your UI tests, and you just sit there, waiting and waiting. Or even worse, after all that waiting, they fail for some random reason you can't figure out. It's frustrating, right? Yeah, these are the usual suspects. Your tests take an absolute eternity to run, slowing down your whole workflow. They get flaky, passing 1 minute and failing the next, which makes you stop trusting them altogether. And on top of that, they chew up a ton of your computer's resources. It's a tale as old as time, but what if there's a better way? Well, that's where headless testing comes into the picture. It's built to tackle these exact problems, promising a serious boost in both speed and reliability. So what's the secret sauce here? It all boils down to something called a headless browser. I want you to think of it like a car engine, but without the car's body. It's got all the horsepower, it does all the important work under the hood, processing HTML, running JavaScript, but it doesn't waste a single cycle on drawing the shiny paint job, the GUI that we actually see. And that's really the core difference. It's all about visual rendering. A normal browser has to paint the entire picture, every button, every image, every pixel, and that takes time. A headless browser, it just skips that whole step. It bypasses all the visual stuff and focuses purely on the logic, which makes it execute tests way, way faster. But you knew this was coming, right? There's always a trade-off. As amazing as all that speed is, we have to talk about what we're giving up. It's really a balancing act between raw speed and what happens in the real world. The advantages, though, are pretty incredible. Your tests get a massive speed boost, for sure, but they also get more stable. Think about it. Because the browser isn't wrestling with all the complexities of drawing a visual display, there are just fewer things that can go wrong. That makes your tests way less flaky. Plus, resource use just plummets, which is a huge win, especially if you're running lots of tests at once. But this is the most important thing to remember. Headless testing is powerful, but it's not a magic wand. You can't just flip everything to headless and call it a day. It's a tool, not a total replacement. And here's why that is, and it's pretty simple. Your actual users, they're not using a headless browser. They're looking at a full-blown graphical user interface. And some bugs only show up when things are actually drawn on the screen. So the smartest play is to use both. Use headless for that super fast feedback while you're coding, and then use traditional browsers for that final check. Okay, so you see the benefits, you get the trade-off. Now you're probably thinking, this has got to be a pain to set up, right? Well, this is the best part. It is ridiculously simple. Seriously, you can break it down into 3 little steps. You just find your configuration file for your tests, you add one single property, and you set it to true. That is it. You don't have to change a single line of your actual test code. And this is it. This is the magic. In your config file, you just add headless true. That one little line is all that stands between you and a much, much faster testing experience. It's kind of wild how much power is packed into that one simple setting. Now, a quick heads up on a practical note. This works great on the big browsers like Chrome and Firefox, no problems there. But it's worth knowing that this isn't an option for Safari right now. Just something to keep in mind when you're planning things out. So you flip the switch. You've run your test. But nothing popped up on your screen. So how in the world do you know it actually worked? How do you prove that your test ran in this, invisible mode? So after a run, you'd normally pop over to your testing platform's dashboard, right? You'd look at the results, the logs, see if it passed or failed. With a headless run, there's one very specific clue you're looking for. Or more accurately, something you're looking for that isn't there. The proof is in what's missing. See, with a standard run, you get a full video recording of everything that happened in the browser. But with a headless run, well, there's no GUI to record, so there's no video. You still get all the important stuff, like your test logs, but that video file will be gone. So that's it. That missing video isn't an error, it's your confirmation. It's the proof that your test ran successfully without a user interface. It feels a little weird, but in this case, seeing nothing is exactly what you want to see. Success! All right, let's wrap this all up. Headless testing isn't just some gimmick. It's a seriously powerful tool you can add to your arsenal. The real trick is just knowing when to pull it out and use it. So let's just quickly recap the big points. Headless is fast,
and it's stable. It's incredibly easy to turn on with just one little change. It's a partner to your regular browser tests, not a replacement for them. And its biggest superpower is getting you that lightning-fast feedback so you can catch bugs almost right away.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know about this, think about your own projects, your own workflow. Where could getting feedback minutes faster, maybe dozens of times a day, where could that make the biggest difference for you?